But let me pull up this article here, and let's see what's going on with this situation. Now, this is from the Washington Post. It says the dollar is our superpower, and Russia and China are threatening it. Now it says, obviously, as we know, maybe it was last week where there was a summit between Putin and Jinping. I was actually going to make a video about them. They were scheming, y'all. They were scheming. They were shaking hands. They were over there in the corner sniggling. You know what I'm saying? Shout out to Coach Greg for that. They were sniggling, but it looked like they had a lot of stuff in the works. They were over there looking like best friends. You know what I'm saying? I'm surprised he didn't bring his Jinping didn't bring his sleeping bag over, and you know what I'm saying, they just stay up and play some Call of Duty all night or something like that, because they look like they were the best of friends, which isn't too good for the American government or the American people. Let's keep it a stack. Now, let's get into this and kind of see what's going on with that whole situation. Now, it says the most interesting outcome of the 3-day summit between Vladimir Putin and Xi Jinping got limited media attention. Describing their talks, Putin said, "Oh, excuse me. We are in favor of using the Chinese yuan for settlements between Russia and the countries of Asia, African, and Latin America." Going away from the United States dollar, that's gonna hurt, y'all. That's gonna hurt. So the world's second largest economy and its largest energy exporter are actively trying to dent the dollar's dominance as the anchor of the international financial system. Will they succeed? Hopefully not. Hopefully not. But, I mean, what did we really expect, though? You know, we've been trading with all types of South Pacific, nations and everything like that. We've been trying to cut China out the deals. You know what I'm saying? Obviously, Russia is self-explanatory. We're giving billions on billions of dollars to Ukraine while not feeding our own people. You know what I'm saying? And everything like that. That's not me saying let's not give money to Ukraine. I'm just saying we're giving billions of dollars to Ukraine. Well, you know what I'm saying? I could probably, drive relatively... I could probably run and find me a homeless person, Now, the dollar is America's superpower. It gives Washington unrivaled economic and political muscle. And the people, too. You know what I'm saying? You go to Taiwan, your American dollar is stretch. People, it's stretch. Now, shoot, you making $50,000 a year in America, you rich in a lot of places, guys. Now, it says the United States can slap sanctions on countries unilaterally, freezing them out of large parts of the world economy. And when Washington spends freely, it can be certain that its debt, usually in the form of treasury bills, will be bought up by the rest of the world. Why? Because it's the United States dollar. What is it? America. You know what I'm saying? Gotta get some cold water. Drink your water, people. Let me go back for another one. It's tasty. Now it says sanctions imposed on Russia for its invasion of Ukraine, combined with Washington's increasingly confrontational approach to China, have created a perfect storm in which both Russia and China are accelerating efforts to diversify away from the dollar. Their central banks are keeping yet less of their reserves in dollars, and most trade between them is being settled in yuan and won. They are also, as Putin noted, making efforts to get other countries to follow suit. This could be really bad. This could be really bad. Now, it says the Biden administration has handled economic war against Russia extremely effectively by building a coalition in support of Ukraine that includes almost all of the world's advanced economies. That makes it hard to escape from the dollar in other highly valued stable currencies such as the euro, the pound, or the Canadian dollar, because those countries are also countering Russia. Yeah, it's going to be kind of hard, too, for them to, really get this whole thing going, because most countries don't like Russia. Let's keep it a stack. Like, there's China and Russia do have allies, but they seem to have a lot less than NATO, and everything like that. So it's going to be one of those types of things where if somebody's doing trade with, let's say, these European nations or the United States, and they say, oh, you know what, we don't want to use the euro, we don't want to use the dollar anymore. A lot of them would be real scared to do that because then the U.S. will be less likely to trade for them. And even though the U.S. dollar is getting weaker, it is still the strong U.S. dollar. So unless you really have some true incentive to go away, you're going to do whatever is going to be best for you business-wise. And right now, that is the U.S. dollar. But should a big superpower like China really get rid of its reserves of US dollars and really be able to get enough people to switch over to that side, you know what I'm saying, then, that could really become an issue, especially if Russia is able to somehow get out of this war, start establishing themselves again, then Russia and China together can really be a formidable force. Right now, with Russia being in a whole war, I don't know how much other countries will really think about that. But in the end, it all comes about power, and the power from this type of situation all comes from the strength of that currency. So if countries start saying, okay, there's a flip, the US dollar's value is going down while the yuan is rising, the yuan could still be worth less than the US dollars because they know, hey, if it keeps going in this trajectory and we fill up our storage our banks, our treasuries with yuans, eventually they'll be worth more. And that's really where the fear comes in. Now it says what really may have been a sharper turning point for the dollar's role was President Donald Trump's decision in May 2018 to pull out of the Iran nuclear deal and impose sanctions. The European Union, strenuously opposed to this move, watched as the dollar's dominance meant that Iran was immediately excluded from much of the world economy, including its trading partners in Europe. Jean-Claude Juncker, then president of the European Commission, proposed enhancing the euro's role internationally to shield the continent from unselfish unilateralism. The Commission outlined a path to achieve this goal. Now, it says that hasn't happened. There remain too many fundamental doubts about the future of the euro itself. Yeah, trading the future, you guys know I'm a commodities trader. Trading the euro is like, the euro is like one of the better ones, obviously. Then, the dollar is pretty stable. But, trying to trade like, I'm saying like the Japanese currency or the Australian currency, like, man, those charts are screwed up. And think if you're investing in something, you want to invest in something that's not going to be very volatile. And that's why people love the US dollar. But if the US dollar becomes more volatile than something like the yuan, even I may start, trading it a little bit, throwing some of my US dollars in there to trade. You know what I'm saying? Now, a globalized economy needs a single currency for ease and efficiency. The dollar is stable. You can buy and sell it anytime, and it is governed largely by market and not a government's whims. Excuse me, guys. That's why China's efforts to expand the yuan's role internationally have not worked. Ironically, if Xi wanted to cause the greatest pain to the United States, he would liberalize his financial sector and make it a true competitor to the dollar. But that would take him into the direction of markets and openness that are opposite of his own domestic goals. If you guys don't know, kind of what they're saying there is what's really hurting China from being able to do this is that they've really thrived by being a independent nation. When I say an independent nation, they really try not to trade too much outside of their country. They run their government very sanctioned. It's hard for people to get inside. Basically, they essentially cut themselves off from the rest of the world. And when you're a trading partner, you can't really do that. You can't cut yourself off from trade from the rest of the world and then expect the rest of the world to want to use your currency. The United States is a great currency and the dollar is a great currency because what's happening? You can easily see what's going on with the United States government. We're very clear in what's going on with our government. for the most part. You know what I'm saying? People are taking the US dollar, they're taking it to South America, they're taking it to Asian countries, they're taking it to European countries, they're taking it to Africa, looking to spend it and everything like that. And a lot of people in these other countries, they're looking to take it. You know what I'm saying? They're looking to take it. The Chinese yuan, though, not as much. But that's a lot of, it's kind of like they're contradicting themselves in a way, because in the manner for them to actually weaken the US dollar, they have to open up themselves to the rest of the world, which is something that they're not very accustomed to doing and don't really seem like that they want to do, like it says, for their own domestic or in-house goals. Now, it says, all that said, Washington's weaponizing of the dollar over the past decade has led many important countries to search for ways to make sure they do not become the next Russia. Maybe don't invade Ukraine. How about Why do I feel so smug? Like, I need a wine or something. I can't be smug, with this beer. Like, that smug laugh, But yeah. It says the share of dollars in central bank reserves has dropped from nearly 70% 20 years ago to less than 60% today and falling steadily. The Europeans and the Chinese are trying to build international payment systems outside of the dollar-dominated SWIFT system. Saudi Arabia has flirted with the idea of pricing its oil in yuan. That would be interesting. Oil is a large market, with Saudi Arabia being what? I think Saudi Arabia is like the number one. Is it number one? They're like top three. Top three at least. If you guys know that, please drop that in the comments. I appreciate ya. Now it says India is settling most of its oil purchases from Russia in non-dollar currencies. That's not good. Digital currencies, which are being explored by most nations, may be another alternative, which that's not good for really any paper currency, of course, but definitely not good for the dollar either. In fact, China's central bank has created one, which we've actually talked about on this channel a lot, as China wanted to kind of have their own Bitcoin. So what they did was they essentially either taxed people making Bitcoin in China too much, or I think eventually they basically just said, y'all can't do this. And then all of those people essentially migrated to the United States. That video is somewhere deep in my YouTube channel. Yeah, if you guys want to check it out, I can post it for you guys, or just reach out and I'll post a link for you guys for sure. Now it says all of these alternatives add costs, but the past few years have taught us that nations are increasingly willing to pay a price for achieving political goals. We keep searching for a single replacement for the dollar, and there will not be one. But could the currency suffer weakness by 1,000 cuts? That seems like a more likely scenario. The author and investor Ruchir Sharma, hopefully I said that right. You guys know I like to try the names. So right now, for the first time in my memory, we have an international financial crisis in which the dollar has been weakening rather than strengthening. You would think, though, you would think with these European powers going to war and everything like that, there being so much instability in Europe, you would think that, us getting to send weapons and everything all the way across the world, you would think that the dollar would be strengthening. And you guys know during war times, normally countries that sell weapons make a lot of money. But what are we doing? We're losing a lot of money, people. We're losing a lot of money, and this isn't good for us at all. We're already in inflation. This is just going to inflate us even more. Especially if Russia can somehow get out of this war and China gets a stick out of their butt and decides to, branch out into the rest of the world. This is going to be really bad for us. It's also going to be really bad for the passport bros. The passport bros, all the guys who think that like American women like suck. And so they go out and, they go to like South America and these Asian countries and search for love. It's going to be bad for them because the dollar is going to be weaker. So whereas they could go out there and take a girl out on a date for $6, now it's going to cost what it would cost over here. So you might as well just stay over here, my guy. But I hope this doesn't happen, because if it does, I might have to take a flight. I'm just playing. Or am I? You know what I'm saying? Now, it says, if it is, Americans should worry. I wrote last week about the bad geopolitical habits Washington has developed because of its unrivaled unpolar status. That attitude is even more true economically. America's politicians have gotten used to spending seemingly without any concerns about deficits. Somebody had to say it. They just be spending. Oh, Ukraine, you need money here. Single moms, you need money here. You know what I'm saying? Taiwan, we still owe them guns. Bro, we just be taking in and expelling out cash because we know at no point are we really going to have to pay any of these countries this money back because they're going to keep trading with us regardless. Why? Because they can't afford to stop trading with us. Why? Because we're one of the biggest trading partners in the world. Hey, you can start. You say, hey, we could pay our debt back, but if we pay our debt back, you guys aren't going to be able to have eggs in the morning. You know what I'm saying? You like those microwaves, those TVs that were coming over there? TVs isn't a good one because those probably come from somewhere else. But you know what I'm saying? It's like, I don't know about that. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. But now it says Americans, politicians, they've gotten used to spending money. Public debt has risen almost fivefold from roughly $6.5 trillion 20 years ago to $31 trillion today. Oh my, The Fed has solved a series of financial crashes by massively expanding its balance sheet 12-fold from around 730 billion 20 years ago to about 8.7 trillion today, or 20 years ago. All of this only works because of the dollar's unique status. If that wanes, America will be facing a reckoning like none other before. This is actually quite scary, guys. This is very scary. This is really something for us to think about, really something for Americans to think about. And it's really time for us to start rallying our troops. We really need to start getting with the euro or something. We need to start getting with the euro because if China can influence enough countries to really stop using the US dollar, and like I said, Russia gets out of this war and, they kind of get their economy back together. I don't think this will be anytime soon, but if this was to, happen, yeah, the US dollar will be very weak, and that will be very bad, and the recession that we're already in will get even worse. And it could possibly even mean economic collapse for the United States, because a lot of the reason why we're able to make these deals, a lot of these transactions and everything like that in the first place is simply because the United dollar is so unique and it's so strong. So I want to know what you guys think about that and everything like that. I think we're actually going to call it a day on this one. I think we're going to touch on the whole Nashville shooter and everything like that. Tomorrow, we're going to break down what was their life like. Why did they do it? They're a terrible person. We're also going to get into the politics of it too. Is this a gun control issue? Is this a trans issue? Is this a mental health issue? How do we fix the problem? I'm going to talk about how I think we could possibly help fix this problem with school shootings and everything like that. I want to hear what you guys have to think about that. And if you guys, of course, like all these videos and stuff that we're doing, these live streams, we pop in about 8, you know what I'm saying? I'm going to get a little bit better about popping in directly at 8, you know what I'm saying? But we working on it. But I hope you guys all had a great time. Thanks to everybody who tuned in and everything like that. I hope you guys all have a great day and be blessed.